Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Bailey Alicanto Grande Porto. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. Starting off first, we have your black hitch head here with silver lever, which you have to have pulled up like so. Now sometimes that silver lever won't stand up by itself, just need to get a bit of WD-40 in the hinges. Then from there you can wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar, snap down that handle, push up that red button and expose a green ring. You then have your breakaway cable here. Now if you have an eye point, legality states it has to be used. If not, wrap it around the tow bar. You then have a gas strut handbrake. Now with these, you'll hear a first initial 1 or 2 clicks when you pull up. You have to make sure that you pull it all the way back to get that last initial click. You then have 13-pin electric, so if you do have 7-pin adaptation, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. However, you may lose a couple of features, such as Alco ATC. You then have your jockey wheel on the side. Now, as this is a Bailey, the jockey wheel will sit onto the side of the A-frame whilst travelling. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back. We have inserts for your legs. The caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs. They're simply used for stabilisation. Now we are using our test equipment today, so coming around to this side, first up we have the insert for your mains lead. Mains lead plugs in nice and easy and goes over the top just there. We're not running water through today as the caravan has been fully drained off. However, this here is your water pump. So to push this in, you literally just have to do that, and then you can press down the cap to lock it into place. The only way you're going to be able to remove that then is to break the plastic. You have this plastic cap to go over the top of the acroll to ensure no nastiness gets in, and then at the bottom we have your strainer. It's crucial that the strainer sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through. Next to that we have your flue. Your flue is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler when operating on gas. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. Then next to that we have your gas locker. So you have your regulator just here with the insert on the side for the hose. Now with regards to that, you need to hand tighten to the maximum extent and then just nip it up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight, as the gas hoses do have an O-ring inside and too much pressure can cause it to crack and break. Black gas hoses will run for 5 years, so this one's dated 2025, so it will take me up to 2030. And then I'd always recommend using propane over butane just because it has a better performance over winter. Motor mover will be shown on collection, and then we have your toilet function. So just here is where your wastewater is going to come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to then feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point. Then here we have your cassette toilet. To remove this cassette toilet, press up on the handle and pull out towards you. However, do make sure that the actual toilet itself is shut in the correct position, unlike me. That's a bit better. Then what you need to do is twist this head to the side, open up that cap like so. Just put down these keys for a moment. You need to pick this up, tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually pressing your vent button. Now, my recommendation after you've done that is to open up this cap here, feed in some fresh water, give it a bit of a shake, and again, tilt and vent. It's always useful when you can get that back into place. Then, on this cap here, you have measurements in both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into that cap, twist it back to the side. You want to push this in so that the orange handle sits behind those white teeth, as then that cannot be removed without pressing up on the handle. Then just above we have your flush tank. Flush tank has a capacity to hold around 12 litres, however I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10 as you don't want to overfill the capacity. You could also add a bit of pink chemical which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell nicer. Now, please do not put actual bleach down your toilet, as it is plastic and will corrode. Then, on the side here, you have this little black bung, and that's to drain off any remaining water from the flush tank. The caravan itself will be fully drained off before you collect it. Then, underneath your right hand side seat, you have all of this, so I wouldn't recommend storing anything under. This here is your onboard tank. The onboard tank, you can physically open that catch to see the amount of water that's inside it. With that, it will not exceed the maximum amount that it can pull through. Once it's at 100%, it's at 100%, it won't try and pull through anymore. You have this little toggle on the side. Now, that toggle is representative of either drain or pull in. So, you have up, which will be drain, and this side, which will be to select the water to come through into the actual onboard tank. So for now, I'm going to flick this up. Next to that, we have your boiler. Now the boiler itself has a series of tubes that connect into it. Around the back there, you can see this white thing. Now that is your flow jet, which will pull through the water itself to the boiler. If you ever need to do a reset, you can pull back this panel and expose a few bits. Now, just here, you have your yellow drain valve. So that drain valve, when it's pointed to the upright position, is in drain mode, meaning any water inside the system will be fully drained off. You have to have that up at the same time as that one to allow the maximum water to be drained out. Now, November to March, have that up permanently unless you're actively using the caravan. Anytime you come off site, have that flicked up. And when you want to use the water, all you have to do is flick it down horizontal either way. Then, underneath your fridge, you have your trips and your fuses. All your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position as well. I'd always recommend carrying some extra fuses with you across the van. And then, if you'll have a look at the door here, you have this little catch where you have your point for your motor mover. So it's around the back there, so you can access it from your exterior access for your red key. Then here we have your toilet operation, which is bog simple. Now, as it's been drained off, you won't be able to see the water come through. I'll lift up the lid, then on the back, you have your little button here to push through the water. Here you can hear the actual motor that would push through the water. Then push away your cap to open up the toilet. Pull it back towards you to shut it up so you can actually remove it. And when the cassette is full, there'll be a red light on there telling you to empty. Then just here we have your main control panel. Now this is a super simple interface. Main on and off button just here. You then have internal lights. Awning light just here, so I'll press that in, go to the outside and you can see awning light on there. You then have your pump button. Now with regards to the pump button, what you would do is press that in, you'd have the drain valve in the correct position and you'd have the onboard tank in the correct position as well. As what you can do is select to either use internal pump, which is the onboard tank, or external pump, which is straight from the acroll to the tap itself. If you're wanting to use internal tap even, you'd press the pump button, have the drain valve facing horizontal, and that other black valve facing downwards as well. That will then draw through the water from the acroll to the actual onboard tank. However, if you wanted to just go straight from the acroll, external pump, you'd switch that onboard tank switch to the upright position, and then you can just go straight from the acroll to the boiler to the tap. Now, with regards to that, it will pull through the water. I'd recommend waiting about 2 to 3 minutes, especially if you haven't used the caravan in a little bit of time, to pull through the water. Then you come over to your tap, open up on both hot and cold, and let it run for about 30 seconds. Now, if you haven't used the system in a while, it may be overly pressurized, which means you get coughs and splutters come out. However, what you're looking for is a nice, steady, continuous stream. If it isn't nice and steady or continuous, Go outside, check that this is situated at the bottom of the barrel, as sometimes they can float up, meaning that air can come through, causing airlocks. Make sure that the alcohol has plenty of water and that your drain valves are in the correct position. Now next to this, you have this little battery button, which can show you the amount of power coming in. Now that is showing the amount coming from the mains at the moment as I'm plugged in. However, when you are only on the actual battery, it will show you the amount from that, and then you can have a look in the book pack to see which these represent. This is a redundant button, as it's not something that's synced in for caravans. They use the same interface for motorhomes. Then here we have your idle control panel. So with regards to this, press this in, it will flash up, and then you have this interface. Now this is a bit of a newer interface that they have with the 24 models. So this is the basic one. The top part shows you the current internal temperature, and the bottom part shows you what temperature you have it set to and what you'd like to achieve. So this goes all the way up to a maximum of 30. You can press and hold or individually tap. Now whatever you set it to, it will get to that temperature. If it is a nice sunny day, unlike today, you can expect probably about an hour to an hour and a half. However, in worse conditions, do make sure you expect a bit more time. Then you can press in menu. Now menu shows you the time, so it's not 12 minutes past midnight at the moment. I've just had the caravan set up for that long, and you can see that mains is plugged in. Then you have your energy, so you can either use 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts of electric. Now do be aware that some sites do not have 3 kilowatt capacity, so always check with them. Or you can use strictly gas or gas in a mixture. So you've got the choice of either gas, mains or both. Then hot water. So it's currently off. You can have it on, which will get the water temperature to about 40 to 50 degrees, or boost. Now boost will prioritise the water heat over the heating of the actual caravan for around about 30 minutes. After that 30 minutes, it will then drop it back down to on. Then if I press menu again, I go through to the settings. So this is basic sort of stuff, night mode, day mode, and then a few different settings, and then you can just flick through. Not going to go through them, as we have set this panel to what we believe is the most user-friendly to use. However, if you'd like to have a look in your book pack to see what they represent. Now that screen as well will stay on for around about 5 minutes until the last interaction. However, when you want it completely off, press in and it's now off. Then just here we have your hob grill and oven. Now all of this operates on gas minus the electric plate. Electric plate, spin it to whatever mark and it will get to temperature. Everything else, press in on the dial, twist it to the side and press in the igniter. Now it may be a case that the flame will ignite and then cut out when you first come to use it. That is natural, that's the gas making its way through its system. So just relight, and this is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all your flames nice and lit. Turn it off, back to the central position. And the same concept of the grill. As you can see, grill all nice and lit. Finally, your oven. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. And there you can see oven all nice and lit. Now make sure as well that you don't have these trays in the way of the actual flame, as it can sometimes disrupt it, meaning that the flame will die out. Only other real thing to note, you can travel with your gas bottles in the holster. However, make sure if they are plugged in that the bottle itself is off, and you need to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all of these are nice and cold. Then just here we have your Dometic fridge operation. Now this is a two-way opening fridge. Now with regards to this, make sure that you don't try and open both sides at the same time, as they will come out. Now this interface is simple. This is a dial, but it's also a button. So press and hold in, it will flash up and go to its most recent memory, which in this case, full capacity on mains. Press in and then press in again, and then you can go to the amount of power. 1 to 5, 5 being the most powerful, so it's going to chill it the quickest. However, even on full capacity, it takes around 4 hours to fully chill. Press in again, twist to the side, you then have your energy source. Whatever is blue selected is what energy source is going to be used. However, the border is what I can select. So you've either got mains, gas. Now for gas, I wouldn't recommend it until you've checked through all your hob grill and oven. 13-pin electric, that is not leisure battery, that is when you're plugged in and traveling. Or auto. Now, if I select auto, press in, then go back, you can see auto selects mains as the best source to use. Press in again, go once more down to the bottom. You first have the screen brightness, so full to least. You have key beep, so when you select something, it will beep. You have your ventilation setting just here, and then you have fast freeze. Fast freeze will prioritize the freezer itself over the fridge for around about an hour. And again, similar to the Alder, that screen will naturally fade off when not interacted with in a while. When the fridge is on, there's lights on inside. And to turn this off, press and hold in, turns itself off, no more lights.